Hello, beautiful people from across the internets. Welcome, whether you're a subscriber or here from the browse. I appreciate it, and we're gonna get a little heated today. We're gonna get a little angry because this is something that has been haunting my channel since probably the first or second video, and I want to go ahead and just really put a full video together of my thoughts on this matter because people keep bringing it up. People keep saying dumb things, and I want to just kind of get it out of the way, clear the air of how they're wrong. But before we do all that, I want to quickly get into a thing I'm doing this weekend where I am going to go ahead and be putting a short story on my Patreon that I'm writing this weekend. I've given myself a challenge of basically 72 hours to put together something that is canon and taking place within the world I am creating for my larger book. And if you want to see that Monday or Sunday evening, depending on when I post it, go ahead and just throw $1 on Patreon and you will be able to see it whenever it's up, either Sunday or Monday. And I also have now an affiliate Amazon link in the description below. If you're planning on picking up a book anytime soon of one of the ones I have reviewed, just go ahead and hit that Amazon link. Most likely it is in there, and you support the channel, and it costs you nothing more to go ahead and buy the book through there. So go do that. If you have any books you want to be checking out. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the snobbery around physical reading versus ebook reading versus audiobooks. To get my just blanket opinion on this out of the way at the beginning, if you are one of these people who are telling people to not listen to audiobooks or not use e-readers because you are somehow better than them for physically reading the book, people probably don't like being around you. And let's get into several reasons why. The first and most obvious, this shouldn't even have to be said, but it's the internet, so it does need to be said. Life is short. Let people enjoy the things they like, however they enjoy them, especially if it's not harming others. And guess what? Audiobooks can be phenomenal experiences. They can even elevate the source material. So especially if you're coming back for a reread, I even suggest on your first reread of Wheel of Time going with the audiobooks. Or even hell, go for the audiobooks the first time because they are magnificently performed by wonderful voice actors Kate Redding and Michael Kramer. These guys knock it out of the park and really bring those pages to life. Now, someone who hates audiobooks would, for some reason, not want you to enjoy that and tell me that the art of voice acting is somehow worthless in this situation. I will never understand that. So if you want to go ahead and enjoy magnificent performances of great works, you have every right to, and you can sign up through Audible through my Amazon affiliate link. Oh my God, look at that. But the mentality that somehow you are doing it wrong is just something that we'll never understand. It's fine. I recently listened to Michael C. Hall's performance of Pet Sematary, and I thought it was wonderful. He captured the atmosphere of that book magnificently. And this is coming from someone who does about 50% audiobooks and 50% physical reading because I was dyslexic as a kid, so I got into the habit of listening to audiobooks as I read. It helped me actually learn to read on the level I currently am at today. Tip for dyslexics who are still struggling, do that. And so that just kind of branched off over time. If I want to just have a book that I've read before especially on in the background, I'll throw on the audiobook, and it's a wonderful thing to just have there. It's comfort food, it's brain food, it's fantastic, and you are not wrong in any way, shape, or form for enjoying the art form that is narrating audiobooks. Now, the same mentality is applied to e-readers. I have an e-reader. I got it fairly recently because I'm going to be narrating audiobooks. I guess I might be biased on this whole thing, but it's a lot easier to physically hold an e-reader and read that way than to hold a physical book, which sound will be picked up on the mic. That's a problem. If you watch videos on how to do this properly online, which I'm still in the process of doing, they suggest having an e-reader, so I'm doing that. But again, there are people online who say this is not right and you are somehow not actually experiencing the book and the story. And I don't, this one even confuses me more than the audiobook one. Like, what do you think this doesn't give you that a physical book does? This is coming from someone who loves collecting books and loves reading books. There's no actual information difference there. Period. Are you impressed by like the physical act of lifting one of these books? Is that what you're trying to brag about? Because it's not that impressive. It's actually kind of cumbersome. It's not heavy. It's just annoying to hold at times. And this is coming from someone who loves the art form of books and does carry paperbacks with them all the time, but it's not always pleasant to have this in your book bag on the commute to work. This is just physically better to have and more convenient. And this leads me to these people's final argument and their biggest one, and one that might have a slight bit of credence, and this is only aimed at specifically audiobooks. If you say, yeah, I've read that book, I listened to the audiobook, their response is, you didn't read it. You're right, that person physically did not read that book. That's just a slip up of common language because it sounds strange to say, yeah, I listened to that book in common conversation. It's not something that you automatically do. But their tone implies much more typically when they say this. They're somehow saying they are superior to you for physically reading it. And I guess they might be pulling from the science that yes, reading is in general good for your brain. It stimulates it, it keeps you engaged. But if you're going to imply that kind of gatekeeping, I'm going to come back at you as a rhetorician, someone who frequently debates, well, reading's fine and all, and I guess it does stimulate your brain a little bit, but it's been proven time and time again, and this has been said all the way since Plato back in ancient Greece, writing, it's for the weaker minds. Actual speaking and debate and rhetoric is where you reach the listener's soul. So, I don't know, man. I just think that you're not really living up to my rhetorician standards by reading your little weak-minded books. It's the same incredibly obnoxious, annoying mentality you're bringing here. If it just annoys you when someone says they read a book when they actually just physically listen to it, that's fine. That's also your problem, and you have no right to just jump on someone in every conversation and say, no, you didn't read it. It's probably why people avoid certain conversations with you in your everyday life. There is some science to, yes, reading does stimulate your brain and enhance it in some ways. It's good mental exercise, period. But most people aren't reading a fantasy or sci-fi book to somehow exercise their brain. They're in it for the story, the experience, the enjoyment. If you're not, I find that a little weird. If this is somehow weightlifting to you, I would question your actual fantasy fandom because this is a passion. This is a love. This is something that's supposed to bring you enjoyment. It's not supposed to be something you force yourself to do as some kind of mental exercise. Go read a textbook if you want to do that. We all know where this actually comes from. It's people wanting to be able to look down their noses at others for some reason. There's a large percentage of the population out there that is highly insecure and will do anything they can to look down their nose and scoff at others. And being able to talk down to someone for enjoying an audiobook is, I guess, something that is frequent here in the book online community. It's one that I find highly silly and ridiculous. I'm probably going to get a bunch of comments from people who are saying, yeah, I've pointed out to people that they didn't read it, but I didn't mean it. You did. You probably did. A lot of you did. Because as someone who constantly gets comments, how do you read so much? The answer is it's about half physical reading and half audio listening. And as someone who has done the same book in both formats, I can tell you I retain just as much information from both formats. I might even occasionally get more enjoyment from the audiobook because there's a good performance. It does not somehow better my understanding of the book or the source material to physically read it. I actually sometimes can pay a little bit closer attention to an audiobook, especially if I'm on the subway and there's noisy people around me. Suddenly, noise-canceling headphones, boom, I'm in audio paradise. I don't hear anybody. That baby crying, not bothering me in any way, shape, or form. Whereas if I had a physical book, it's gonna be rather hard to focus on those pages while that baby screams its head off. So the next time someone tells you that you're not a real Malazan Book of the Fallen fan because you listened to the audiobooks, you didn't read them all, please push them in front of a train, and I will go ahead and say, good job, well done, and you'll probably go to jail. I'm not taking responsibility for that, though. I'm saying I support your decision. I'm well aware this is the kind of video that gets a lot of people who listen to the first 2 minutes of it, stop it, and just leave an angry comment without listening to everything I have to say, and I fully expect those comments down below. But to those of you who are normal people and just like enjoying things in life and don't bother other people for enjoying things however they want to, I hope you like this video because maybe it was therapeutic for you to hear me echo a lot of your thoughts and rational opinions about people experiencing and enjoying fantasy stories. What I honestly don't know is if this problem is as pervasive in other genres, because every time I mention, oh, I happen to do this one on audiobook, I inevitably get 5 to 10 comments of people just going, ugh, because I'm human and like certain things, and I could probably equally judge you for things you decide to do. You eat gushers and gummies? That's not real food. You don't eat real food. You don't know what real food is because you did this one thing this one time. Ugh. Anyway, guys, this is probably going to piss off some people, but I hope you enjoyed regardless. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here, and look forward to your first Daniel Greene short story. For too long. Have a good one, y'all. Peace. Special shout out to my latest high tier Patreon, Lucas Thurston. You came right after Twitch, Avery. That's awesome. I actually kind of hurt my throat in this video, so I hope you all appreciate sacrifices I'm making for you. It was when I was screaming, lifting that book. Luckily, it was the last thing I recorded, but yeah, I was in physical pain. Have a good one, y'all. That was TMI. Peace!